Boom. I'll leave you with this little picture over here of something I did to a cigar. Howdy, Todd. Oh, good Lord. Don't tell me. We're going to clear this. We're going to see if that clears things up. Hey, Todd, how you like that little picture over there? That one right there. I actually did that. That was in this hand. Look at it. Look at it. It's huge. Howdy, y'all. How y'all doing today? No, that's not painted. I smoked it. You know, a cigar. We're gonna go with a long cigar today. Something I haven't had in a while. This is a Kristoff Criollo Churchill. Let me bring that in for you. Kristoff Criollo Churchill. Not Criollo. It's not a Toyota. So interestingly enough, this is what's called a closed foot cigar, where the wrapper is wrapped extra long and they just fold it over. And it's also a pigtail. Now the things with pigtails are you cannot use a punch. You can use a knife if you're real careful. But the easiest thing to do, you know that teardrop cutter I showed you last week? You just take the edges, you slide them right under that pigtail, give it about a quarter turn, clip that sucker right off. Now you can use a punch. Don't be afraid to save those little pigtails, though. It's actually pretty damn good smoking when you get right down to the point of it. And I'm going to apologize right now about being backlit. But this weather has been threatening to get kind of stupid all day. And it finally showed up. So going to rain, I want it to rain on me, not on my electronics. Best I can tell me. Let's try to stay dry. Hey, but don't worry. We are still going to be breathing some fire later this evening. So you remember I nibbled off that little pigtail, and there's a little extra piece of it, and into the pipe it goes. Now, puff, puff, pass. Not really passing. I'm not passing. And I'm not going to lick my cigar before I light it. I will tell you, I'm not really the biggest fan of this cigar. It's good. I mean, I'll smoke the shit out of it. But I've never been much on Churchills. Quite honestly, Todd, you don't have to clean out a cigar punch. I'll explain. Let's see if we can get it to focus in on this. When you push the thing back in, that little plug should just pop right up against that and pop right out. Or with this one, which is much easier to see, as you turn it, it extends or retracts. So quite honestly, you should never have to clean out. That's not to say that every once in a while you don't need to take a cotton swab with a little bit of just rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer or something flavorless. I mean, you could use like a bourbon or something like that. Howdy, Steve and Kathy. Great to have you in today. Part of the reason I don't like Churchills, I always forget to keep them lit. Takes a bit more smoking to keep a Churchill going. Now, way back in the day, Winston Churchill used to put a paper clip down inside of his cigar so that he could do that. I don't do that. I don't drop a cigar, anything inside of a cigar. But if you saw that picture, that was actually my hand. That was a Alec Bradley Black Market Gordo. So it's a 60 ring gauge, 6 inches long cigar when it starts. Hola, Jose, ¿cómo estás? Ah, you are very good. Beat me to it, you mind reader, you. So yeah, so Winston Churchill, famous cigar smoker. I mean, hell, they named a style of cigar after him. He used to take a paper clip and slide it in and then light it. And he would do that when he was going into negotiations. Because people would keep man, I'm trying to do something here and it doesn't seem to do it. Oh well, I'll figure it out sooner or later. So anyways, Winston Churchill would do that so that people would pay attention to his cigar and not really so much about what he was saying. And he kept getting better negotiations than the other side. Really? Really? Did you know that in that movie, Gary Oldman smoked $10,000 worth of Monte Cristos? Or in the making of that movie. Because of how many times they wanted to cut the scene and restart it or whatever. And as you're smoking a cigar, it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. He ended up smoking $10,000 worth of Monte Cristos. Oh, that's a bubbly rosé that's been in the fridge a while. And I'm trying to get rid of it before the expiration date. I probably should have just poured it down the drain. Rosé and Churchill Kristoff. This is not going to be a good day. I got 0 done on the pipe today. They used Monte Cristos because the brand was around back when Churchill was alive. In fact, from what I understand, there were 7 brands from back when Churchill was Churchill, like in the movie, that are still in existence at this point in time. And 2 of them make an accurate to the time period cigar. And both of those are actually owned by Altadis. One is the H. Upmann lineup, and the other one is the Monte Cristo. Now, there are other cigar makers that have been around. Don't get me wrong. But they wanted to use a well-known name along with an accurate to the day and time period cigar. And over the time, cigars have evolved a little bit, and some of these could not be obtained. And then there's the other situation. Who has enough stock that we can get stacks and stacks of them so we don't have to keep running out to go get some more? Oh, by the way, those were Cuban Monte Cristos. They were not the American easy to obtain Monte Cristos. The American easy to obtain Monte Cristos would have been a whole different story. Probably could have gotten away with $5,000. But you got to remember, all those different takes. Got to say your lines just right. There's probably a blooper reel out there somewhere, and there's probably a whole crap ton of footage that went on the cutting room floor. And how many times did he smoke half of a cigar and they had to start a new one so that he could smoke another half of a cigar? Or they get to a certain point in that scene and they cut away and, oh, Gary doesn't have to be in this next scene. Actually, Mr. Oldman is a fantastic actor. And I think that at least 5 of the movies that I've seen him in, I thought his character portrayal in the movie was often enough better than whoever was the lead person in the movie. Hey, take the whole Batman series with Christian Bale. Christian Bale, I mean, his Batman was, yeah, I mean, it was okay. But Oldman playing Gordon, you'd have to be a fan of the Batman series, I guess, to understand what I'm saying. Howdy Step and Skip Kane. Okay, so Texas right now outnumbers Oklahoma. But if Ron shows up, that's no longer the truth. Jose, but you're a fan. You're a fan of, like, the full comic book area. The development of Gordon and Alfred and Fox compared to the development of Wayne was completely skewed, just crazy. Huva Ilta, Boris. So glad you could make it in today. Smoking a Kristoff Churchill. It is a Criollo or Criollo, depending upon who decides to say it. And we got on the whole Batman thing because Gary Oldman played Churchill, and I'm smoking at Churchill. We kind of got into talking about Gary Oldman and how some of his roles are just fantastic, even when he was just a supporting actor. Y'all are welcome to chime in, throw some movies out there. We've probably seen most of them. He's been in a crap ton of movies. I know. Y'all are going to load up my feed today because y'all are hoping that I eat some cheese puffs early. I know. I see how this works. No. Cheese puffs are after Mike's, not before. And I'm drinking a wine right now, which is the completely worst thing I could possibly do because that's just going to spread that stuff out. Okay, I can see that, yeah. But Ed Harris is another one of those actors that very versatile. I mean, he played not John Glenn. He played Neil Armstrong in a certain movie way back in the day. Which means technically he played NASA positions at least twice. You would also recognize Ed Harris from Apollo 13. He never left the ground in Apollo 13, but it was that. The other movie I was speaking of would have been The Right Stuff. Which basically starts with the attempt of breaking the sound barrier and goes to getting into space. The Abyss, yes, The Abyss was a fantastic movie. Still makes me wonder how long that man's hand was blue. I'm not going to say what part, but how long was his hand blue? If you didn't see the movie, I can't help you on that. And I would believe that James Cameron, who did The Abyss, Titanic, and Avatar, would probably disagree with you about The Abyss being one of his best. It did, however, set him up to really know what he's doing with filming water. Oh, didn't he do Aliens also? I don't know if he did Alien. No, that was... No, he didn't do Alien. He did Aliens. That was the one where they went back with the Space Marines and really fought some aliens. Well, all the directors will change the endings for the director's cuts. And I'm sorry. Look, Alien was a great movie, don't get me wrong at all. But it is one of the few movies on the face of the planet where number 2 was actually better than number 1. Let's look at the very, very short list. Terminator 2 was better than Terminator 1. Right. Alien is by Ridley Scott, not by Cameron. Well, True Lies, I don't believe was number 2. I liked True Lies. There's something about the Queen of Scream being sexy as hell and then falling off the bedpost. It just always gets me to giggle. Steph, Terminator 2 was leaps and bounds better than Terminator 1. And Aliens was significantly better than Alien. Actually, I was more scared with Alien than I was with Aliens. But the storyline was so much better, and the filming was so much better. I think that's about the only 2 movies I can say number 2 was better than number 1. Now, I will say that I liked Empire Strikes Back better than Star Wars, but I still know for a fact that Star Wars, the original, was better than Empire. Well, Jose, maybe it's because I don't actually like horror movies. It's not so much that... Rocky 2. Honestly, no. Rocky 2 was about the same as Rocky 1. Rocky 3 actually had a kind of a grip to it. And Rocky 4 was, well, you know. By the way, howdy Mike, glad to see you're in today. And, of course, Odie. Welcome. Have some bourbon. Sit back, smoke a pipe or a cigar. We're only going to be here for another 40-ish minutes. Now, I'm not trying to start a debate, an all-out debate. Ooh, I don't know, man. God, I tend to stay away from comments where everybody quotes the first movie. Hardly anybody quotes the second movie. You can always tell when the movie is so much better when people will actually quote the second movie. Now, yes, people like to quote, "I'll be back." Okay, I hear you. That would, of course, be a Terminator, which he reprised in Terminator 2 and 3 and all the other ones. Now, see, I did not own the Leatherface chainsaw. But, no, see, because Predator 1 was way better than Predator 2 with Danny Glover in downtown Los Angeles. Well, in Casino, we all just quote that line where you put somebody's head in a vice. I'm not gonna quote those lines for you. I don't need a copyright strike. I will, however, say that I got myself one of those Evil Dead chainsaws. Stupid, red, noisy. Yeah. Of course, I also got myself a shotgun, so I mean, hey. Not stupid, not red, still noisy. What do you want? It's a shotgun. Actually, most mafia movies are so inaccurate, it is ridiculous. Closest. Army of Darkness is actually a part 3. I know, because I'm a huge fan. And I love Army of Darkness because, I love quoting that one line. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. This is my boomstick. Yeah. I can't give the whole rundown on Cobalt Blue, made in Michigan. Besides, that shotgun being made in Michigan would probably be pissing Odie off for, Ohio doesn't like Michigan. Not my fault. No, and it's not hot popcorn. It's hot cheese puffs. That's going to be tonight after Mike's show. Shop smart. Shop S-Mart. But just remember, I'm going to hit the brakes and he'll fly right by. No, there's actually very, very few movies where number 2 was better than number 1. It's just the way it is. I mean, let's look at Liam Neeson, who he had 3 movies, right? Taken 2, Taken 3. At what point is he going to realize he's just a really shitty father? He let his family get stolen from him 3 different times. This is not debatable. Go on in, Toby. Sorry, I had to let the cat in, otherwise it was going to be screaming at me the whole time. I hope they're tasty too, but they're HEB brand, so I'm pretty sure they're going to be tasty. Oh, but Last Crusade is a number 3. Because there was Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then there was Temple of Doom, which was definitely worst right up until Crystal Skulls. They should have stopped at Last Crusade. They really should have. And these Star Wars movies that are coming out left, right, and sideways, they just get worse and worse now. Temple of Doom was probably the worst of all the Indiana Jones. But then Crystal Skulls showed up and tried to say, "Hold my beer." Why? Does not anybody ever read these scripts and go, "Yeah, I'm not doing it"? I mean, if the storyline sucks, probability is so will the movie. Okay, Odie, I'll give you one better. The cat's name is Toby. He's a Seal Point Siamese. What that means is that the face, the paws, the ears, and the tail are all dark, whereas he's about the same color as my jacket for the most part. So because he wears blackface, I call him Kunta Kitty. My wife named him Toby. Oh, the Temple of Doom was horrid. Horrid. But you would think after Temple of Doom they would at least try. I mean, but name what? Aliens and Terminator 2. I'm willing to add some to the list, but you got to make a good case for it. There's really not. There's just not. I mean, look, if you were to say like the Harry Potter movies, I might allow that. Which one? Go ahead, Skip. Tell me which one. Are we talking the John Wayne version, or are we talking the remake? Because if you're talking about the John Wayne version, they were all pretty just. I mean, look, when I was a kid, yeah, sure, I liked the John Wayne movies. Howdy, P.A. Piper and Flat Cap. Howdy, howdy. So glad y'all could join us today. I'm going to give an example of John Wayne fighting. I'm going to hit you with this hand. Ready? Cock it back so I can swing it at you. Someone does that to me in a fight, they're dead. Or out cold. I mean, it's one or the other. And really, I'm too old to be fighting, so they better hope they're a kid, someone who I don't want to hurt. Odie, I'm telling you right now, howdy, Ohio. If you and I got together and we could just sit around and talk bourbon straight out, most people would be like, what? I seriously doubt very many people are going to be really able to keep up with Odie and I if we really just started talking bourbon. I really liked bourbon all the way through life. Yeah, John Wayne was, well, you know, his real name was Marion. True story. It's Googleable. Now, I'm not going to say nobody can keep up with Odie and me when we really get going on bourbon. There's some people out there that are going to know some good stuff about bourbon. But I mean, when I was in Kentucky, I visited damn near every distillery that was available to go and visit. And I'm not going to tell y'all how much bourbon I've drank. Let's just say I've drank a lot. And I know some off brands that people have almost never heard of. And, ooh, Ocean's Cask. Nice. I have not had that yet. Is it any better than the regular Jefferson's, though? Because if it's really actually better, I will be tempted to pay that $100 for that bottle. But I kind of draw my line right at about 60, 65. Because I've had so many bourbons, including Pappy's, and when I say Pappy's, I mean the several of the Pappy's. aged more. So, you know what? I'm okay with slightly less aged. You'll be Didi Mao? Steph, when did you start speaking Vietnamese? TT? Of course, a lot of this you could have watched a few Vietnam movies and picked up if you actually paid attention. Just saying. There for a second, I almost thought I remembered another movie that should be added to the list. And then I realized I was wrong. I can't help it. It is not my fault that second movies just almost are never as good as the original. And very, very, very rarely is the second better enough that you can really say, oh, the second movie was definitely better. There. Gotta do something when it's raining. Hoping it holds off a little bit on raining. I'd like to not get soggy while I'm eating really, really spicy cheese puffs. Quite honestly, Odie, I agree with you on the barrel proofs. Love them. Cold in western Pennsylvania and snow in Cincinnati. Well, I'm going to say that here in Houston, last couple of days it got up to 80. And today, well, let me check. It got to 67. So it feels a lot colder, but it's also a crap ton damper. It's part of the reason why I didn't work on the pipe today. I wanted to. For Houston, it's extremely weird. It should be 80 constantly from tax day on. This little cold spell that we're having, a cold snap, cool front, whatever you want to call it, it feels good. But it brings with it rain, and the damp weather tends to make it feel a lot colder. Okay, so on Her Majesty's or in Her Majesty's Secret Service. Yeah, okay. But completely different actor. So Sean Connery took over for that guy that I don't even remember his name because he was that good. Oh, I like your turn of words there, PA. Yeah, but let's see. Like I said, oh yes, George Lazenby. George Lazenby was nowhere near as good of an actor as Sean Connery. But also, according to every woman everywhere, George Lazenby was nowhere near as good looking as Sean Connery. Really? You were mowing snow? That's just completely wrong. Howdy, Paul. Great to have you on board. Roger Moore wasn't bad at all. And if you look at how many movies Roger Moore made, Roger Moore was probably considered better than Sean Connery. He did more Bond movies than Sean. But again, you ask the women, and the women are all going to say Sean Connery. He had that irresistible look about him. But the worst one was where they tried to play him off as being some sort of, he's supposed to look Japanese. He's 6'4", hanging out with 5 foot nothings. Yeah, he looks Japanese. In no way, shape, or form. I will say the Bond girls did get better looking each and every time, pretty much. Right up until they got to Halle Berry, and they've really never looked better than that. Though if we have to go with best names for the Bond girls, that of course would be Pussy Galore. Really? Steph? I'm trying to stare at you as if you've gone goofy or something. Steph? Really? Of course, my sister and my wife, they are not the same person. Don't worry about that. But my sister and my wife both said, if you watch the movie Top Gun, the women are all going to say Slider. Mike? I'm a white guy, but I'm a guy first. We can just drop the white off of there. I know a pretty woman when I see one. And there's very few Hollies that I've ever met that are not pretty. And For me, that is bonus points because my wife is named. That's right. Holly. By the way, my son takes after me a lot. His wife is black. Ding! Taught that boy right. Said look for one with a good attitude and enough crazy that you can deal with it, but not too much that you can't deal with it. Yeah, 2 weeks from now, I will not remember George Lazenby. Nor will I ever remember who was the drummer for the Beatles before Ringo Starr. I know there was one. I'm not going to be able to name the guy. Hell, I'm lucky if I could even remember that there was a drummer before Ringo Starr, really. I wasn't alive back then. Yes, there was actually a drummer before Ringo Starr. Amazing, right? But if we had to get into drummers, I mean, if we just had to get into drummers, wouldn't we all be talking about Rush? The band? Yes, there was actually a drummer before Ringo Starr. I don't remember his name. Might be Skip, but I don't remember his name. I remember seeing a documentary about the Beatles, and like on a day when there was nothing on and I was sick as a dog, and they were talking about this guy had to have been the most pissed off person in the world because he was with the Beatles and then they put Ringo in there and they went big. Keith Moon has a very funny story. I know this is better told on a Chad video. Really? Did Mike just go live? I'm checking. Hey, Mike's live. We're going over there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been so much fun having y'all along. Very happy that y'all have been here. I will tell the Keith Moon story tomorrow. And, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Let's go over there and party with Mike, as per always. Long lives, big bowls, and long ashes. Y'all take care, and I will see you directly after Mike's show. Thanks again. Come back and see me eating some spicy as hell Cheetos. Well, cheese puffs. off-brand. Talk to y'all later.
Daniel. I am smoking a
Bye now.
Criollo and the Scudo right now. Hello, Charles.